Hello friends, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to my channel, Excel Graphics and Multimedia. My name is Rafi Yakub right here, and in today's video, you are going to learn how to create trifold brochure print ready template in Photoshop, step-by-step tutorial. So let's get started. Well, before we dive deep into the tutorial, if you are very new to this channel, remember to click on the subscribe, turn on notification bell, so each time I post content about Photoshop like this, you'll be notified. So with that being said, so let's dive into the tutorial and see how to create print ready trifold brochure. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do is to come to the top right here and make sure you type to your design trifold brochure and come to the width right here and make sure you type in 11.69 by 8.267 and make sure your resolution here is 300 and then your color should always be CMYK. Then come down below here and make sure you click on create. Alright, so the next thing you want to do right here is to go to your toolbar right here, and this time around we have to click and hold down. We go to rectangle tool and make sure we select our rectangle tool. Having selected your rectangle tool here, you have to come to the top right here, make sure your shape is checked, and then you can fill color with color of your choice right here. So having filled a color, then you have to come to the artwork. Just click once. So once you click like this, then this is going to pump up. Then at the top right here, you have to change the figure right here. Okay, so for the width you have to type in 3.897 inch. Okay, then you have to come to the height. So under the height column you have to type in 8.267 inch or so. So once you're done, you come here and make sure you click on OK. Next thing you want to do is to go to your move tool right here, and from your move tool, next thing you want to do is to go to select, then click on all. Then what you need to do next is to make sure you align to vertical center and align to horizontal center. Then you go back to select, make sure you deselect. So you're going to have a stuff like this. Next thing you want to do is to close this tab window. We don't need that again. Then we can grab our ruler, both vertical and horizontal. Then we make sure they are all snapped to the edge of each of the shape right here. So next thing we want to do right here is to make sure we delete this rectangle shape. All right, so at this point here, we need to play around with shapes and color and to form our simple, beautiful trifold brochure. So what we want to do right here is to go back to our toolbar. We click and hold down and we make sure we select our rectangle again. And having selected our rectangle, we can come to the top right here. We always make sure each time you select shapes, make sure shape is checked, and you can change the color from here to another color of your choice. Now I'm going to draw another rectangle. Then I have to press Shift key on my keyboard to draw another perfect rectangle like this. So the rectangle can be bigger as much as possible. So once I'm able to draw my rectangle like this, then I have to go to the home tab right here. I will make sure I go to edit and I will look for transform path. So I'm going to adjust, I'm going to rotate this way. Or better still, you can come to the top right here. You can type in the figure of your rotation. So I'm going to rotate by minus 45 degree. Once I rotate to minus 45 degree, then I will take this, my rotation, to the top of the shape like this. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to come to the top right here, click on this check mark to accept my transform. Next thing I'm going to do is to go to my move tool right here. Then I have to make a duplicate of this particular rectangle. So for me to do that, I have to come to the panel right here where I click on the layer panel and I will look for duplicate layer. So this can be rectangle 2, and I'm going to click on OK. Then I will have to fall back to my rectangle 1 layer. Then I will double click on the layer thumbnail. So we need to change the color for a proper differentiation. I'll click on OK. Then I'll have to go back to my home tab right here. I'll click on edit and I will look for free transform. So this is going to pump up and I will just drag my duplicate down below like this. Then I can press Shift key and alternative key just to reduce the size of my rectangle. Okay, so I'm satisfied with that. Then I have to come to the top right here and click on this check mark to accept the transform. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is to go back to my background layer from the layer panel right here, and then I'll go back to my toolbar again, and I'll click and hold down. I'll make sure I choose my rectangle tool again, and I'll make sure shape is checked and color remain. So what I'm going to do next is that I will draw another rectangle like this. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to go to my move tool right here, and I'll go to edit, and I'll look for free transform. Now we have to rotate this also by 45 degree. I will just come to the top right here and type in 45 degree. So this time around it has to be the same minus 45 degree, just like this. So once you have it this way, I'm going to position it right here. So this is where I need this particular one. So once I'm satisfied with the adjustment, I'll come to the top right here and I click on this check mark to accept the transform. Next thing I want to do, I'm going to close this tab window. I don't need this tab again. Then I have to fall back to this particular rectangle 3. Now what I need to do right here is to make a duplicate. So for me to do that, you just go to my layer panel right here. I will right click on the layer panel and I will look for duplicate layer. So this time around, this can be rectangle 4. Rectangle 4. Okay, and I'm going to click on OK right here. So what I'm going to do to the rectangle 4 is that I have to go back to my edit from the home tab right here, and I will go look for my free transform. So what I'm going to do is to take this duplicate, I'm taking it to the top right here perfectly. So once I'm satisfied with the adjustment, I'll come to the top here and I'm going to click on this check mark to confirm. Now I need to take this to the top of the shape. I have to drag from the bottom right here and to the top. So boom. So this is where I need it. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is to fall back to this particular shape. I need to make another duplicate of this shape. So I will have to come to the layer panel. I will right click on the layer panel and I will look for duplicate layer again. So this is going to be rectangle 5 as the case it is. So rectangle 5, and I'll click on OK. Now I will go back to my rectangle 4 shape right here. I will double click on the layer thumbnail. Then I will make sure I can change the color to this right here, and I'm going to click on OK. Next thing I'm going to do is to go to edit from the home tab right here, and I'll make sure I click on free transform. So right here I have to drag this one right here. So this is where I need it. All right. So once I'm satisfied with the adjustment, I'll click on this check mark to accept. Next thing I want to do right here is to make sure I locate these two layers. This one right here, shape 4 and rectangle 4 and 5. So I need to make them active right here. So once they become active, then I will use my forward arrow key just to tap them out a little bit. So I need them to be out a little bit like this. Next thing I want to do right here is to locate this particular shape, and I'm going to locate rectangle 1 and rectangle 2. Then I will come to the layer panel. I'll make sure they both active. I'll press Ctrl key down to select my rectangle 1. So what I want to do right here is to tap them out a little bit. So I need to create a little gap between them. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is that this one right here, I have to make sure I locate my rectangle 2 right here, and I'll go to edit from the home tab right here, and I'll make sure I look for free transform. Then I'm going to press Alt key on my keyboard and Shift key. Then I will drag in a little bit. This allows me to resize the shape more and more. It depends on how you want to achieve your design, but as for me, I'm satisfied with stuff like this, and I have to click on here to accept the confirm the transform. So I have to select on this particular shape again. Then I will go to edit from the home tab right here, and I will look for free transform. So this allows me to have a transformation, and I will have to make sure I adjust this and it maintains the same gap interval with the top right here. So once I'm satisfied with the adjustment, I'll come to the top right here and I'll make sure I click on confirm transform. All right. So at this point now, the next thing I'm going to do is to add image into some of the shape right here. So I'm going to start from here, and I'll go to home tab right here. I'll click on file, and I'll look for place embedded. Alright, so next thing I'm going to do after you have successfully placed image into the shapes, so I have to select I'll have to make sure the rectangle 5 is active. Then I'll have to go back to my rectangle tool right here. Then having select your rectangle tool, then you have to come to the color stroke right here. I'm going to change the color. Now you can see the color code I use right here. I'm going to highlight, and I'll right click, and I'll make sure I copy. Then I'll click on OK. Then I'll have to go back to my stroke right here. I will increase the stroke width. So the next thing I'm going to do is to go back to my move tool right here. Then I have to select on this particular shape, and I'll make sure my rectangle 3 is active. Then I'll go back to my rectangle tool right here. Then right here I have to change the color. So I'll click on here. Then I will come to the color code right here. I'll press Ctrl A to highlight, Ctrl V to paste the color code, and I'll click on OK. Then I'll have to come to stroke width right here. I will type the same 100 width, and I'll press enter key on my keyboard. So we are going to have something like this. So we're going to have something like this. I'll go back to my pick tools. Then I have to select on this particular shape right here, and it's become active. Then I'll come to the layer thumbnail. I will double click on my layer thumbnail right here. Then this is going to be where I'll highlight and paste the color code here, and we are going to have something like this. I'm going to click on OK. Then I have to select on this particular shape next, and I will come to the layer thumbnail, double click on the layer thumbnail. Then this is going to pump up. Then I have to change the color code from here. So you can see the color code I use right here. So this is the color code. Then I'm going to just click on OK. Then I have to select on this particular shape right here. I will double click on the layer thumbnail. So I will pick this color first. Then I will have to change to gray. So I need this type of gray. Then you can see the color code I use right here, and I'm going to click on OK. All right, so what I'm going to do next is to come to this particular layer. I will right click on it, and I'll make sure I look for duplicate layer. So this can be copied for, and I'll just click on OK. Next thing I'm going to do is to go to the home tab right here. I will make sure I click on edit, and look for free transform. So now I have to drag this one to the top right here. So this is where I need it. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is to come to the top right here, click on this check mark to accept the transform. Alright, so at this point now, the next thing to do to this brochure is to add text and necessary icon to the brochure. So let's check it out.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss that fact, taking big swings, put your hand to the bat, put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag, cause I sing what I mean and I bring it to the mad light, ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel, I took a red pill, I know life's short so I wanna live real, but how's it supposed to feel? supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? They wanna say my name, but they holding back. They wanna say they hate, but they know it's cap. I ain't play no games, I just do that's fact. And I don't feel no shame, it's a mood you lack. I go crazy, nah, but I ain't lazy. Track after track, I work on this shit daily. Pass me the jack, right as fuel, got me hazy. About to unpack all these things I've been chasing. I've got visions in my head, like memories after death. To be a legend instead of something you can forget. I'm living up every breath, I'd rather lead than be led. I'll fill the seats as I spread with every word that I've said. How's it supposed to feel?